2014 HOT6 Cup Last Big Match Semi-Final.
GS.
안녕하세요. 전 세계 스타크래프트 2 팬 여러분.
What's up, guys? This is Tasteless and Artosis, and we are here at GOMTV to bring you the HOT6 finals.
That's right. The HOT6 Cup has been going on for quite some time now, Tasteless. And here we are. It is the round of 4 and finals today, so a lot of Starcraft coming your way.
Yeah, this is going to be a great way to end the year. It's good to be back with you, Dan.
Yes.
I missed you.
I've missed you as well, even though I've seen you multiple times recently.
I've missed you on air.
I've missed you on air.
I suffered a knee injury, guys. I've been basically out of commission here.
On air, I have to completely pretend to like you and everything. So our friendship, this is where it's at its most real.
This is where we're safe, man. So we got a lot of good games here. It's going to be an unusually large and epic day today here. Not only is this the final day of StarCraft 2 for anything major going on, it is also not just the finals, it's the round of 4. So we're going to see a journey with 2 players eventually in the finals, and one is going to be the champion.
Yeah, guys, this is it for GSL at GOMTV this year. So, well, hold on one second, guys. Yes, anyways, today is the last day at GSL for StarCraft this year.
Yes.
So make sure to tell your friends to get on this stream right now.
Do the right thing. Tune in. As you can see, it's packed. We have a lot of people showing up. The hype is real, and we'll be bringing our 2 players out shortly for an interview.
(2014년) 대민을 장식할 2014 핫식스 라스트컵 빅매치 대망의
It is time to bring out our 4 players in our final day here of the HOT6 Cup.
오늘의 주인공들
4 fantastic players going to be playing tonight. 2 TVPs. Who knows what the finals will be? Oh, I know what the finals will be, but we'll get into that after we introduce those players.
So many people, you know, competing to get down to this one point in time. You really have the best here, especially with Korea being the best StarCraft 2 country by far in the world. These 4 players, you can't say they don't deserve to be here. Our first player, probably the oldest school when it comes to StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
It's MarineKing. He's back, he's here. He could very well take the whole thing.
The runner-up of GSL Open Season 2, someone who has had countless second places, but also first places outside of Korea at least. He is back and is strong, if not stronger than ever before.
Really cool to see somebody be on top early on, fizzle out, as some would say, and then come back and be here in the Final 4 again. That's huge. This is a man who, if you followed any StarCraft 2 in the past year, you have to know who he is. Everybody says he's the best in the world. Zest, with disappointing results from BlizzCon, but the IESF champion here in the final event of the year. He's hoping to close this out as #1 again.
That's right, and definitely a big favorite going into this Final 4 as well.
And that would be one half of the bracket, but there are our other 2 players on the other side. It's SOS with a really wonky play style. He cheats a lot. When he does, it works. He also knows how to play very standard. He's definitely got his own way of approaching the game. When you're going to prepare to play against somebody like this, you can only prepare to play against SOS. Not a Protoss, not just a cheesy player, only for his play style specifically. And the final player, by the way, this is really interesting to have this individual here, Sky High. Back from the days of Brood War, I guess it goes to show you anybody who played enough Starcraft 1, if they switch over to Starcraft 2, with Starcraft 1 being as difficult as it was, they can master Starcraft 2 and actually get as deep as they are here now.
Absolutely. I would say both he and MarineKing kind of surprises to get this far, but we all knew that Sky High was coming at one point or another. This guy was so godly at Starcraft 1.
He was so good.
He was like top 10 parents
This
ever.
goes way back. We were watching Sky High play way back before either of us were even casting. He's very old school. We're going to go ahead and interview each of these players and see what their thoughts are before we go into our games here today. So there were so many players who thought that you would make it to the semifinals. What do you have to say to that?
우선 생각보다 날씨도 많이 춥고 해서 이렇게 많은 분들이 모여주실 줄 몰랐는데
You know, today the weather's much colder than I expected today.
와주셔서 너무
I never thought
감사드리고요.
we'd see so many fans at the venue here today for that reason. So first I want to say thank you so much to everybody who's come down.
보여드리겠습니다.
I am going to try my best to meet your expectations for me here today.
제가 16강과 8강 때 이영석 감독의 이야기 들어봤습니다. 이정훈이 요즘 어떻게 하냐? 정말 여기 16강이나 8강 올라가면
So, MarineKing, I asked your head coach,
3대0 승부를 보여줄 거라고 이영석 감독이 얘기를 했는데
how have you prepared for this?
하지만 이정훈 선수 해냈습니다. 상대가 주성욱이에요. 다른 선수에게 통했습니다만 주성욱 선수에게
And
통하기
especially
좀
against an
어려울
opponent
거라고
like
생각하는데
Zest.
이정훈 선수의 생각은 어떻습니까?
You've taken out so many Protosses on your way down here. How are you going to take down somebody like Zest, who's basically #1 in the world?
네.
뭐 약점이 너무 많으셔서
I heard that Zest
뭘로 찔러야 될지 고민이라고
is not that strong against Terran players.
뭘로 혼내줘야 될지 모르겠어요 지금.
So frankly, I think he's got a lot of weak points in this matchup, and I'm going to exploit
찌를
that.
때가 너무 많다고 이야기했거든요. 주성욱 선수 무결점에 주성욱 선수 약점이 생겼습니다.
Okay, Zest, you just heard what MarineKing had to say.
주성욱 선수는 어떠세요?
What are your thoughts?
저도 이정훈 선수 경기 많이 봤는데 솔직히
Yeah, I've actually watched his play
다
several
이기긴
times
했어요.
before.
근데 좀
And honestly, I know that he's been beating a lot of Protosses to get here, but that doesn't mean anything. I thought his Protoss opponents prior to this were quite weak.
다른 그림이 그려질 거라고 이야기를 했는데 그러면 여기서 자신 있게 이 수많은 팬분들, KT 로스터 팬분들이 계시거든요. 오늘 첫 번째 이정훈 선수에게 1차전
There's a lot of
경기는
KT roster fans here in the audience. Do you have anything to say to them?
여기 우승하러 왔기 때문에 4강은 좀 그냥 손 푼다는 생각으로 3대0으로 가볍게 이기려고.
You know, I don't even care about the semifinals. I'm only really interested in the finals. I know I'm obviously going to win this semifinals, and I actually expect to win the entire thing.
3대0 그냥 손 푼다고 이야기했어요.
So, MarineKing, did you hear that? What are your thoughts? He's not interested in facing you in the semifinals. How does it make you feel?
저도 뭐 사실 4, 5세트 맵도 모르거든요 지금. 그냥 1, 2, 3세트만 준비하고 왔어요.
예.
그래서 뭐
He says, frankly, it doesn't even matter what map 4 or 5 would be to specify because I'm in a 3-0. I'm taking him out so
4세트,
quickly.
5세트 맵을 준비 안 했답니다.
So I'm not even worried about facing up Zest. I think it's going to be a 3-0 with me winning.
어떤 결과가 있을지 경기로 지켜보도록 하겠습니다. 그리고 제 오른쪽에는 김유진 선수, 승부사이자 지략가이자.
All right, well, that's not the only match in the semifinals. On the other side of the bracket, it's SOS against Sky High. And here's our clever strategist, SOS.
조병세 선수
Any words you want to say before we start?
찾아봤는데 없더라고요. 그래서 살짝 당황스럽긴
You know, I've watched a lot of
했지만
Sky High's
그래도
VODs,
상황에 올라온 만큼 잘하는
and frankly, I couldn't find one.
방심하지 않고 연습 열심히 했어요.
This might be harder than normal for me to prepare to play against him.
VOD 찾아봤는데 최근 경기 태태전밖에 없었죠. 태프전 하나 있었고.
하나 있었어.
예, 하나 있었고.
So he's only at TVT matches, if I understand correctly. Did you study any of those anyways?
조금 공격적인.
And was there anything else you did to prepare for this?
저도 항공격하기 때문에.
He says, yeah, it seems like his playstyle is a bit more aggressive, but I'm also good at being aggressive. I think it's going to be a fun series.
편안하게 좀 하겠다고 이야기했는데 조병세 선수가 데뷔한 지 2008년이니까 7년 차 됐죠. 지금까지 수트 문을 두드렸습니다만 좋은
So
성적을
Sky
낸 적은
High,
없었어요.
it's been more than 7 years since you've debuted in a Starcraft tournament. But so far you've been having great results.
2015년에 조병세 해로 만들 수가 있습니다. 핫6 컵은 그런 의미가 있는
If you win the HOT6 Cup,
여기서 이정훈
this will be a new era for you.
어떻게 준비하셨습니까?
How does that feel?
네, 그냥 김유진 선수가 되게 공격적이어서 되게 재밌는 게임 나올 것 같다는.
I know SOS is a great Protoss, and I know he's pretty aggressive. I too am an aggressive player. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to play and a lot of fun to watch.
어차피 전략밖에 안 쓰는 토스라서
오!
무난하게 운영 가면 그냥 이기지 않을까 이렇게 생각하고 있습니다.
야!
He says usually he's just going to win off some unique strategy, but that's not going to work against the playstyle I have here.
전략밖에 안 쓰는 선수다.
SOS, how do you react to that?
어떠세요?
네, 전략만 써도.
So you heard what Sky said. Any words?
예상 스코어는요?
3대.
I don't even really need to pull out any tricks here against Sky High.
5경기까지 다 착실히 준비해 왔어요.
와! 자, 조병세 선수 오늘 이게 자신감의
I don't even think I need to be prepared for all 5 sets here.
전략적인 부분, 조병세 선수가 얼마나 만들어진 선수인지 이 자리 앞에서 한번 말씀을 좀 해주시죠.
But since I'm a legit player, I did prepare for all 5 sets.
3대0, 3대1 정도 생각하고 있고요. 저도
And they asked Sky had first predictions. He says, I'm probably 3-0 or 3-1.
크게 걱정은 안 되네요.
야, 이 선수들이 강한 자신감을 핫식스컵에서 보여주고 있습니다. 어떤 결과 기다리고 있을까요? 이제
Well, guys, I guess that does it for our interview. Tosis, how do you feel after seeing those players and their responses?
Well, I really like what SOS said. He tried to study Sky High.
Yeah, there's
And I
not a
think
lot of
that-
stuff out there unless you go back to Brood War, which wouldn't help too much here.
I think today is all about being prepared for your opponents. So, well, we'll talk more about that in a minute, though, Tasteless.
We're back. Tastos
right.
is here in
Yes.
the finals. Well, soon to be finals. Final 4. But after that, we will be going into the grand finals here for the HOT6 Cup.
This is like a seriously long day. A lot of awesome matches going to be shown. So make sure you get out there on Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, what have you. Let
Tell
people
your friends
know.
to tune in.
Yeah, because I feel like this doesn't have nearly the hype it should. I mean, we have some great StarCraft that's been going on. Of course, we had DreamHack last week. Right now, we have I Am San Jose going on. But HOT6 Cup, I mean, look at the players playing. SOS, he wins every big tournament, right? We have Zest. He's won over 100 grand this year. The return of MarineKing and Sky High, someone who, unless you're an avid StarCraft 1 fan,
Yeah,
you
might
have
be
no idea
saying,
what the hell is going on with
Who
him.
is that? But if you've
He's
been
good.
following StarCraft for a decade or more, you would definitely know who this guy's been. StarCraft is unique in that sense that there is a lot of history inside Korea and outside Korea for the competitive scene because it's been around for so long. The only other games that even come close, I guess, would be like Street Fighter and Counter-Strike.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
But I mean, you can't really compare it to anything else. So Sky High was a very dominant player in Brood War, especially when it was still very hyper-competitive.
Yeah.
He was a solid,
like
aggressive
before
Terran
StarCraft
player.
2 came out, he was still one of the best Terrans.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So definitely someone to keep your eye on going forward in here. And kind of excited to see him. Him versus SOS should be an amazing match. But first, we're going to have Zest versus MarineKing. And I want to talk about this for a minute because there's a lot of hype at MarineKing's return. And I want to dispel a little bit of the hype because
Go for it.
I was like, why is MarineKing in this round? I was traveling a lot, didn't get to watch the HOT6 live, went over all the VODs recently. And MarineKing, so far, to get through, he has held 5 all-ins. He has all-in once. And he punished Hero when Hero way overcommitted in the middle of the map.
So not your standard PVTs there.
No,
a
no,
lot of
this
that
was
deflecting strats, which of course is important to do, but it wasn't your standard games going into the late game and eventually
this wasn't
winning.
watching TY or Maru or
Tosis.
Flash or something like that.
I think we need to talk about this surprise online event.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my God! We're giving away Corsair Gaming Mouse, M45 gaming headsets, Asus graphic cards.
Yeah, you better watch till the end, and you might be able to win that stuff. And if you're not watching the end, what are your priorities
doing? You're gonna
exactly?
turn
You
this off?
gotta go to sleep,
You're
so
gonna
you can go
watch
to
like
school.
30 minutes of that and be like, well, that's pretty cool, and then turn it off and go to bed?
I would hope not.
No, get a HOT6, keep yourself up.
Exactly. It's gonna It's going to be a really fun night, but let me jump back for a moment and talk
please.
again about this. So 5 all-ins held, 1 all-in. Oh, wait, no. Okay, so there's those, and then, of course, yeah. So parting all-in him twice, stats all-in him twice, hero all-in him once.
And then there was one where he punished a Protoss who made a really bad error early on.
What he's done, it's not like he's busted in and been like, look at me, I'm Byung or Flash or Maru or something like that. He's not TY. MarineKing is a player that historically has been very micro-based, and when he started losing, it's when people start defending a lot. So
let's keep in mind, okay, so MarineKing is beating Protosses. The games are not your textbook PVTs. No. That would mean a lot more if he wasn't against Zest. Now, I'm fairly certain the majority of our viewers are probably rooting for MarineKing. Since he is old school, he has been a fan favorite when he was on top. He's done well in Starcraft 2, stepped away from it, come back. So this is, no matter what, still a very cool narrative that he's here now in the Final Four. And if he were to win here today, if he were to even beat Zest, that would be huge.
Yeah, that would be huge. But Zest is normally thought of as like top 3 smartest Protoss in the world. I don't think that
he's also not, I mean, look, SOS is very smart, and SOS is very tricky. Zest is much less tricky and just more solid.
For the most part.
And I believe we're actually going to start this match in a moment here.
Oh, sick. I really want to get it started ASAP.
All right, guys, well, get ready. We're going to be beginning this. It is a best of 5 here on the first half of the quarterfinals. MarineKing against Zest.
개인적으로 3년 동안 슬럼프를 라는 생각을 많이 했었어요. 그래서 스스로 많이 뿌듯하고 되게 믿기지가 않아요.
2014년 출발을 되게 좋게 했는데 출발에 비해 마지막을 좀 제 생각했던 것보다 아쉬운 성적을 거둬가지고 마지막 대회인 만큼 꼭 모든 걸 불태워서 우승을 하려고 생각 중입니다.
주성욱 선수가 올라오기만을 바라고 있었는데 진짜 그대로 올라와 주셔서 우선 주성욱 선수에게 너무 감사드리고
누가 올라와도 솔직히 별로 상관 안 했어요.
주성욱 선수는 워낙에 선수들 사이에서도 거의 최고의 프로토스라고 불리고 있거든요. 유일한 단점이라면 그게 제가 볼 땐 테란전인 것 같아요. 저는 토스전에 자신이 엄청 있기 때문에.
전승이잖아요, 프로토스전이. 솔직히 잘하는 건 인정하는데 그래도 경기 내적으로 봤을 때 그렇게 와 이건 진짜 못 이기겠다 이런 느낌이 아니라 이기지 않았어요.
저는 일단 프로토스전에 사용할 수 있는 빌드도 되게 많고 카드가 되게 많아요. 그래서 준호국 선수는 보면 맞춰가는 스타일이고 되게 특징이 없더라고요. 제가 일방적으로 공격하면은 막다가 그냥 끝나는 그런 시나리오를 예상하고 있어요. 저는
한 2년 정도 그렇게 공백이 있었던 것 같은데 저는 꾸준하게 경기를 계속 해왔기 때문에 그 선수보다 이렇게 경기 감각이 이렇게 잘 올라와 있는 상태이기 때문에 그 부분에 대해서는 제가 무조건 앞선다고 생각하기 때문에 이길 수 있을 것 같아요.
제가 못할 때도 항상 응원해 주시고 지지해 주시던 제 팬분들을 위해서라도 이번 기회는 절대 놓치고 싶지 않아요. 그래서 꼭 4강 이기고 결승까지 가서 처음으로 이제 국내 대회에서 우승해 보겠습니다.
2014년을 제 해로 만들겠다고 약속을 했었는데 우승하면 그래도 지킬 수 있다고 생각하기 때문에 꼭 HOT6컵을 무조건 우승할 수 있도록 하겠습니다.
All right, it is time to begin our best of 5. Again, really cool to see MarineKing get this far.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I think it stops here though. Zest is the greatest Protoss in the world. He's a player that I hope has just looked at MarineKing's games and said, okay, look, I know that right now in the metagame, things like Blink All In and things like Proxy Oracle are very popular, but I'm going to fall back, defensive robotics play, and let MarineKing's attacks wash up against me like I'm the beach.
Now, with MarineKing coming into this, I'm curious as to how he's going to play this. He's had to do a lot of defending and a lot of bouncing rushes off of him, a lot of cheese off of him, but I don't think Zest is going to do that this time around.
No, if he does, then he hasn't studied what's been going on with MarineKing, because MarineKing just hasn't fallen to anyone's cheese. Like,
now,
look at that.
Of course,
For instance, Kavarning is the greatest cheeser for Protoss. He's so good. He's so good at micro. But MarineKing just deflected it, you know. So Zest needs to chill out and play macro. And if he does, I expect a 3-0 or a 3-1 for him, to be honest. Zest has been unrivaled this year for Protoss.
I would be shocked if Zest lost this. But if he did lose this, that would be an incredible story. That would be huge.
Yeah, well, if MarineKing wins there, the sky is the limit, because we know SOS will cheese. He can't help himself, man.
That's true. All right, over here on the other side, it is Zest looking very confident. He just got back from getting first place at IESF in Azerbaijan, and he's here now to win the final major StarCraft 2 tournament of the year.
That's right. We'll see if he can actually pull that through, though. This is a tough one. Both those players on the other side of the bracket are really tough matches, but let's start at the beginning, where everything truly begins, Tasteless.
And White's worst Martosis. At the beginning where everything begins.
Yes. Let's start at the start where things start.
Yeah.
He needs to take out MarineKing here. He needs to have studied what MarineKing's games have looked like. Realize MarineKing seems very cheese-proof at the moment, so don't waste your time.
It is a best of 5, guys. And if you're just now tuning in, this is the semifinals, but we're going into the finals today as well. So you got a lot of StarCraft action here all day.
Well, you see the match point here, of course. Yeah, MarineKing has slain all the Protosses. He's 7-0 so far in this tournament. And
I'm going to be honest, too. After MarineKing fell off, I did not think I'd ever be casting him in a position like this ever again.
No, I didn't either.
I don't always think that, but I remember when he fizzled out, I thought some of the ways that he had played, he had been too aggressive.
For sure.
Relied too much on simply outmaneuvering his opponent, where a lot of times, usually the longer an RTS game is out, the better people get at just defending. It doesn't matter how crafty you are.
Yeah.
This is why Slayer's Boxer was not the world champion.
He couldn't stay
several
forever.
years back when Brood War was still really in its prime, because he's not going to outmaneuver somebody when you just are able to prepare for everything.
It's a perfect way you explained it. In fact, he named himself Boxer when he first started playing, because Boxer was his hero.
Style. Yeah.
And he plays exactly in the same type of way. So, I think Zest needs to take all this into account and play against that. By the way, pretty packed in there.
Yeah,
a lot of people at Dongdae Moon right now. Guys, you still have plenty of time to get down there, by the way, so go check it out.
Entry's free. Get your ass down at Dongdae Moon if you have time. If you're in Korea, go down there. There's probably still a very small number of seats still available.
Yeah, Tasteless and I aren't there. Sorry, we're in the GOM studio filming this, but
you won't see us there.
Definitely check it out.
And in that Dongdae Moon area, you can definitely do some great shopping there as well.
Buy some very stylish T-shirts.
Absolutely.
Winter fashion.
Winter fashion, guys. It's right before Christmas. You can do your Christmas shopping in Dongdae Moon.
There you go.
We used to go shopping in Dongdae Moon.
We did. We did.
I am not saying that we would shop separately at Dongdae Moon. I mean, we literally went on mandates together and actually helped each other
these
pick out
pants
clothes.
look good at me.
And I'm like, well, turn around, let me see your butt. And I'm like, those definitely look good on you.
It's a completely true story.
Yeah. As you can see, Korean and non-Korean representation here in the audience, as everybody is eager to see who is going to be the champion of the HOT6 Cup here at GOMEXP. In the upper right, in the red, we have our Terran player, old school here in StarCraft 2.
MVP MarineKing.
And in the bottom left, in the teal, IESF champion.
KT roster Zest.
I am just super pumped over this match, Tasteless. Zest, as I think everyone knows by now, just my favorite Protoss, the greatest Protoss, the Protoss everyone should study.
Oh, he is so good.
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of different styles of Protoss throughout the years of StarCraft 2. We've seen plays where it's, Protosses were doing some very weird sentry all-ins. We've had the period of time where Protosses, for instance, against Zerg, were not fast expanding, then they were fast expanding, then how are they fast expanding? I think Protoss, out of all the races, has probably gone through the most violent evolutions in the meta.
Yeah.
It's interesting now because Zest, but right before Zest, there was Rain, who was the man crush for Artosis before Zest came along.
That's right.
But Rain, the super conservative Protoss.
There's
Zest,
a younger, hotter Protoss on the block, man. And I just switched right over.
Yeah. You're fickle like that,
I
with
am.
who you love. But with Zest here, he is not. He's a pretty good balance of crazy with safe put in there.
Yeah.
He's also, I would say, unlike Rain. Rain just seems to defend. He doesn't even seem to care that much if you see what he's doing. I think Zest is a little bit more tricky.
Yes, certainly.
In regards to that, but it's interesting because we have on the other side of this bracket SOS, who's completely crazy. I mean, his play style is...
They're pretty opposite, but they're both within the top, 3 Protoss in the world, really.
Yeah, and it really goes to show
4.
you that you can actually have 2 people that play Protoss completely differently from each other.
And it was the same way in StarCraft 1.
If you wanted to, you could let us cast a game where we just see the Terrans 80, we don't see the Protosses. We have to decide if it's Zest or SOS.
Easy.
In the best of 5, we would be able to figure it out every time because their play styles are so different.
In fact, most of the top Protosses, I think I could probably do something like that with. It's just, they're all very stylistic. I guess Zest and Rain are the closest to each other, but even you see that Zest goes a little bit more out of his way to do crazy stuff. It's he will mix in a little bit more aggression and whatnot. But all that aside, it looks like a very normal opening here, a Reaper expansion against just a 1 Gateway expansion. So nothing crazy yet, and as I was saying, that's exactly what we want to see from Zest here. If you're a Zest fan, you want Zest to win, he needs to play a normal macro game against MarineKing.
Now, MarineKing also very econ-focused play here. He's not at all. Whoa. Hold on. Well, I'll talk about. All I need to say about MarineKing is he's getting double command center, so he's going for the long run. But we have a Twilight Council tucked over here in the upper left-hand side of Zest's base.
Yeah, and I think it's not a bad choice. This is something that Zest has chosen in the past to do specifically against very aggressive Terrans such as Polt, where he'll go for a 3-gate Blink Stalker into Robo and just try to put pylons around the map, observers around, and catch medevacs. And of course, he'll do a little bit of pressure, a little bit of harassment with the Blink Stalkers, but this gives him the mobility he needs against a hyper-aggressive player like MarineKing.
I don't know if we highlighted this yet either, but there's actually an eBay with +1. So this is a new style for MarineKing compared to the old MarineKing that we're used to.
Indeed.
This is Greed King. That's what this is. He is going to double CC and get +1 attack.
Now, look at this. He's actually going up to 4 gates instead of 3, and Zest does do that sometimes as well. He normally reserves something like this for someone who's being greedy economically, but he doesn't know that about MarineKing, so this could turn into an all-in. Not really sure. It's a good map
oh my God,
for
is he going to go up and see? Well, I guess he's... All right, now he knows 100%. I was going to say he might suspect this is what's happening anyways if he sees 1 Stalker and just the gates coming out, but now he definitely...
yeah, certainly.
He definitely should suspect something. So, yeah, let's see if this just crushes MarineKing. He's, as by the way, the add-ons were finishing there. You see the Tech Lab just now finishing. So he's got a pretty sparse, excuse me. Is it sparse?
Such a sparse
player.
Sparse
sounds like a Muppet that didn't quite make it on the show. Sparse. He's got a pretty sparse number of Marines. So with good blink control,
maybe he can
with the Mothership Core, he can probably pop up into the main.
It's a good map for it because of those rocks. You have a lot of areas that you can attack, 3 specific areas.
Yeah.
Which is nice. But, again, maybe this works for Zest, but this is... Okay, he's adding 2 gates. This is an all-in from Zest here against MarineKing.
All right, well, guys, don't forget, MarineKing actually held off all-ins from Protoss, excuse me, to get where he is. So... is Zest going to be that one Protoss, the only Protoss in this tournament who's managed to beat him with an all-in? Let's find out. The SCV does go down there. Oh my God, nice time warp at the ramp.
Pretty fantastic time warp indeed. The bunker actually flanking on the side pretty well. Does have to blink back for now, but so far, reasonably successful.
More Stalkers coming in here now. Now this is really a balancing act here for MarineKing because the Stalkers can blink into the main if they want, or they can just attack up here. Another time warp, so that's going to be it for mana there on the Mothership Core. And SCVs are being pulled, but a lot of SCVs have been gunned down. Not the most comfortable back out there for the Stalkers.
Well, he's taking a lot of damage on him. He's down to just 10. There's 5 Marauders out. Stim is going to finish relatively soon.
I think he's going to come in here with his next attack with the Zealots and try to kill him off, because if Stim gets done, then this
Yeah.
should not work anymore.
No, if Stim's done, he hasn't done more damage than this. He's dead.
Whoa,
So.
Zealot's not in a great position there.
Oh, he actually blinks ahead
That
of the
was
Zealots.
weird play.
Yeah, he wanted to get away from the bunker, but it was like a little bit too quick. But still, you know, he's breaking through a little bit.
That did not go the way it was supposed to, but he can just blink up here into the main and then eventually go down and blink back out.
Well, he does have more Stalkers on the way. He may even decide to blink these up. We'll see about that.
You know what? If the SCVs go away, he could blink up.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
does
that's what he wants to do.
to.
That's pretty smooth there, getting some of those Stalkers in the front to tank. But, you know, I got to say, this looks really bad for Zestoses. Zest, yes, he's still got Stalkers and everything, but he is not teched. He just has a bunch of gateways in these Tier 1 units. And the fact that Stim's done for the Marines and the Marauders, even though we don't have medevacs out yet. In fact, do we even have a Stargate out yet? We haven't really gotten many shots at the Terran's base. I don't think we do. Even though medevacs aren't out yet, he can just keep stimming and generally win the fight, and eventually medevacs will be out. Well, let's see. Zest is not giving up. He is going to continue to commit with this.
The thing is, he's making like 4 to 6 units at a time right now. I guess it's like a little bit stifled. He does have 6 gates, but his 34 probes can't quite support it all.
I don't think he even has a factory, does he? Am I crazy?
No, he has 3 command centers right now.
He has 5 barracks.
Yeah, he's about to have 1-1. He has Stim.
Oh, well, this is really bad then, because the fact that he's gotten in here now, yeah, the Stalkers are pretty brittle, but...
Yeah, it's actually taking him out, it looks like.
Problem is that I think he can warp in just quick enough. There's actually not... Okay, so the main... He can actually chop this in half here. Is he going to go for the main? I thought he might want to actually just go for the CC, but maybe this is the safer way.
Yeah, he's afraid of the bunker. He needs to actually get on top of these barracks, it looks like.
This has gone on long enough. We've had 3 time warps.
Yeah. That's a good point. All right, that was actually very nice killing the Marauders at the bottom of the ramp. Does that mean the bunker's empty? Yeah, the bunker's actually empty. If he can just rally up here, he can control. But, you know, obviously Stim plus 3 Marauders at a time is pretty tough.
In the front.
He's got to utilize
this
his bunker
actually
as well,
so close.
now.
You got to keep in mind, MarineKing the best micro in the business.
Yeah.
Out of all the players we've had throughout history in StarCraft 2, this is the guy you'd probably bet on.
Yeah,
for
pretty much
controlling this. It's kind of weird that Zest picked a fight that was probably his opponent's weakness.
Well, it's pretty weird that MarineKing has held like 5 all-ins and he decides to all-in. It's like, I
know, right?
There's a coaching staff on KT that's supposed to look at games, right? I mean,
it's funny. It's what we were talking about the entire time before this started.
Maybe I'm not meant to be a commentator. Maybe I'm meant to watch VODs and tell pro gamers what their opponents are going to do and what they can hold.
I was thinking about this and we started like, well, I guess he's going to do that, but this shouldn't work. And now it's not working.
Now it's just getting Shrek'd over here.
Well, I think Zest still can possibly get in there. For the tech, we have combat shields coming up here, which is also going to be pretty handy. Problem really is that with Stim, you can just never be touched by Zealots. And Stalkers alone are not dealing with any damage anywhere near as fast as stimmed Terran infantry. So combat shields is under, what, like a 4th of the way done? There's no Stargate here. Starport, excuse me. We have the factory starting, so, because we didn't get a lot of shots inside the Terran's base, but there was no factory started. So there's no medevacs. So there's not unlimited stims, but that's not really the most important factor.
With 3 command centers, he has such economy, and 5 racks is making 3 Marauders and a bunch of Marines at a time. It's like as far as I know, Marauders beat Stalkers, right? Like, that's what we're watching here. It's
funny, too, because we were talking about how SOS might do this, but certainly not, not
well,
Zest.
I mean...
Oh, my God, he just did that.
Yep. This is just about it. Zest's going to have to GG out of here.
Yeah, this is not... there's no plan B from this, really. GG, there it is. All right, it's happening. He's like, man, these Protoss just keep all in me, and
he's like, I don't know, man. Like,
I guess all I got to do is make bunkers and defend.
He's always, as you said,
they come to me. The Protoss come to me, man. I don't come to them.
You know, the thing is, people like Flash and Byung and Maru, these guys put in the hard work. When Protoss was playing macro defense, which is what kills MarineKing, historically what kills MarineKing, these guys were figuring out how to get in and do damage. Now, as soon as the metagame shifts a bit, it's a little bit more Terran favored, Protoss start to all in more, MarineKing's like, it is my time. My micro is ready. And then he just comes up, everyone all-ins him every game, forgetting who he is.
It's weird because this was like literally what we talked about the entire time here, was the fact that MarineKing always holds these all-ins.
All you do, MarineKing is the type of guy where Protoss is sitting on 2 bases, making Colossus and Blink Stalkers, and he keeps dropping you, and then you kill a few medevacs and move out and kill him. Like, that's literally his career TVP summed up right there. So,
by the way, we saw Choya and the coach there for MarineKing. It brings me back to the days when early GSL we were casting Choya in the Final Four.
You want to talk about cheese? Let's talk about Choya for a minute. God.
Choya was... Remember he did that, got to 180 supply off 2 base Colossus, Stalker,
He would proxy Robo Colossus. He would, you name the Colossus all in, and he did it.
Probably a good guy to have a coach, though, considering that it's, he knows all the Protoss all-ins.
Oh, I think Choya is actually an excellent coach for sure.
I think he's integral right now to MarineKing's success in this situation. So there's still room there in the Dongdaemun studio, guys. So get down there.
A lot of foreigner fans there today, it looks like.
And so we're going to be going into map number 2 now. It is a best of 5.
All right, map 2 going to be Overgrowth, a more normal map. We'll see if Zest wants to back it up and play a macro game here, a defensive macro game.
MarineKing was chewing gum.
One of our gum
chewers. We were talking about this a while back. Who chews gum? And I think for a while we didn't see anybody chewing gum.
Yeah, well...
did Maru chew gum?
I don't know. I can't remember. But we do have a battle of the glasses here as well,
That's right.
Let's not forget that.
Both of glasses, battle of bad eyesight here in the HOT6 Cup Finals. I'm not even joking.
Tasus says, squinting at the screen.
I want someone to do this. We have a lot of people watching. If somebody can get all the data for which pro gamers, Korean and non-Korean, chew gum when they play in tournaments, that would be a really interesting...
You know, some nerd in his chair's like, Tasus needs me, and he just turned his hat backwards and turned on Roar from the original GSL, and he's like, I'm going to do it. I'm going through every VOD ever.
Someone do it. It would be good to know, since we do have some pro gamers that chew gum in StarCraft and other ones that don't. For some people, it helps them focus, man. In the bottom left, in the red, winning game number 1.
MVP MarineKing.
We have some people with brown hair and some people with black hair in the GSL.
I'm like, how many players with glasses are in the finals, Artosis? It's like, well, Taste, I think you're confusing correlation and causation there. In the upper right, in the teal, he is
KT Roaster Zest.
Winning IESF, but losing game number 1 here in this best of 5. I don't think anybody could disagree that Zest is supposed to win this whole tournament, just based off of what he's done so far. But I mean, MarineKing is a bit of an enigma here. Even these games a bit confusing. We know that Zest knows that MarineKing held tons of Protoss all-ins to get here.
Does he? Like, the way that I just watched that thing is SOS straight up said that he looked for Byung VODs, Sky High VODs, and couldn't really find him because really Sky High only played 1 TVP series recently. So I'm sure SOS watched that. So I'm sure that SOS has some idea. And in fact, exactly, because I watched it as well, and I'm like, I want to know what Sky High is going to do here. So I was like, okay, he seems like he favors aggression, but there's not a lot of information in that VOD.
Yep.
And that's what SOS said. So SOS is ready for that series. Zest here, he didn't say anything about that. He's like, I don't know, I'm just going to win. And, I mean, I said that he holds every all-in. He just held that all-in. Why is Zest all-inning here? Like, did he watch the VODs?
I would hope so, but
did some coach like
Zest has actually been really. Everybody in esports has actually been very busy.
Yeah,
as this is kind of the closing of the year before the off season starts. And Zest was at the ESL studio with us. He was at IESF in Baku in Azerbaijan.
Lots of travel.
Lots of travel. Obviously, he's got to see family in there too. And maybe he didn't. I mean,
Zest's only family is Zealot and Mothership Core. Father Zealot, Mothership Core.
There was no Fathership Core in his life.
Yeah.
No, it's possible,
just
though.
Big Bro Zealot with +1 attack, teaching him how to kill Zerglings as a child.
That was his version of playing catch.
It's like, Zest, see, you take 3 hits, but with this +1 upgrade, I take 2. And Zest is like, oh, wow, Big Brother Zealot.
But maybe he didn't see the games.
I don't know.
I mean, that's possible. This occasionally does happen. You have guys that are so booked.
Well, the thing
and
is
also, Zest was a bit dismissive in the interview. He did say, I'm not even really thinking about this match. I'm thinking about the finals.
Yeah, because he probably just expects to play SOS. And SOS, if there is one human that can give Zest a run in for his money in PvP, as best in the world, it is exactly SOS. So, and that is not an exaggeration. I'm not sitting here pretending that, like, the 5th best Protoss can take him out. No. No. I wouldn't lie to you guys like that. Literally, it's like, this is the one guy that might be able to do it. And yes, that's his lost PvPs. Be quiet, nerd on the internet.
He's already deleting his tweet. He was halfway through tweeting you, and he's like, okay.
He's like, I just ran the Twitch.
He's admitting it. All right, the Robo Bay is finishing up right now. We got a sentry out. And let's see, he's going to go for an Immortal.
Well, this could be an Immortal all-in.
I was about to say, is this going to be an Immortal all-in? Because it could be. I feel like we're seeing what could be a very anachronistic build here against a player that is from the past.
They've popped up like every now and then. And look, there's some merit. Like, some people speak about using aggression against players that you think that you're better against, or even against just straight up aggressive players, which generally that's one and the same, to have the pressure and kind of outplay them in that regard. But in this case specifically, I would not suggest that. Like, if Zest was playing against someone just significantly worse, like a round of 16 WCS America player or something, I'm like, yeah, do these aggressive all-ins, they're not going to hold it. Against someone like MarineKing.
I don't know why. Okay, look, let me say something real fast here. Yeah. Occasionally, guys, builds from the past are so strong in the meta. In fact, there was this one build, and I think you're probably going to know what I'm talking about, Toast. There was a build on Flatland maps in Brood War, because this is a game that had a really long meta that was changing, where, because Protosses were going like 1 gate goon and expanding, and then getting 2 more gates, there was this build where you could make, you go factory, get a tank, and make Marine Medic, 3 barracks, and actually push them and kill them. I mean, in that build, that Terran build I'm saying, that was like a build from like the first month of Brood War that eventually got pushed out of the meta. But people brought it back very briefly to win several important tournaments just because it would catch Protosses off guard because it's not supposed to work. This might be one of these strats where MarineKing, I mean, granted, this is nowhere near close to that crazy, but this could just throw MarineKing off completely. Yeah,
it's kind of weird because MarineKing happens to be going siege tanks against an Immortal push.
Which is also very weird.
Yeah, it's the whole thing is very weird, but if he targets the siege tanks are amazing against rushes. Like, they just kill gateway units so hard. Of course, Immortals own them, but they shouldn't be able to close. Like, notice the siege tanks just target sentries. Now Zest loses all of his units and does no damage.
What?
All right, he still has 3 Immortals, so it's like not over yet?
Is that Immortal still getting hit with that siege tank for a second? The Mothership Core is going to come up here. I don't know if he can push in any further, especially if the siege tank just edges up, which it's going to do right now. And
well,
in the upgrade here, the +1 attack for Terran is finishing up, and that's going to be just in time. Now, maybe with a Warp Prism, he can do what is basically a Brood War Bulldog.
Yeah.
He can actually drop either
if there's no
the
Marines
Immortals.
Up there, like if he
I
drops
don't know why.
Immortals,
this is actually convenient because we were talking about Brood War a second ago, but when Terrans did this long ago in a different game before there was a sequel, the response was to get a shuttle, and now for that, in this case, it'd be a Warp Prism, and then he would drop on top of the tanks because the Marines were usually at the front to actually get in the way of the other units. Let's see if we actually, are we actually going to see, we're seeing a StarCraft 2 Bulldog. No, he's going to put 1 Immortal in here. Whatever. This is actually called a Bulldog, guys.
Yeah, it is.
This is actually a very old strat called a Bulldog.
And it's going to work out pretty well because there's nothing up here to defend these siege tanks. It's going to be taken out in a matter of seconds, both siege tanks on the high ground. These Zealots going to come up, the Time Warp doing some good work. He's going to target down the siege tanks, so with these Immortals on the low ground.
I think this is actually going to work.
Yeah.
He's just going to target down the rest of the tank.
Looks like it is.
All right, well, how long has StarCraft 1 been out for now? Is this
15
game
or
15
16
years old?
years.
All right, we just saw a strat that was actually about 11 or 12 years old, guys.
It's pretty old.
It might even be older than that. It might be like 14 years old. And we did not see this in StarCraft 2 for a long time, and I guess this is...
it specifically works against siege tanks on the high ground.
Yeah.
The thing is, MarineKing, like, really didn't expect that, which is, I guess that's okay. He didn't expect it.
I can't believe we just casted a Bulldog in the final 4 of a HOT6.
It's really weird.
That's so crazy. That's so cool. it goes to show you how all the games are kind of tethered together, but that's so funny. That's it. He's done. GG. It's going to be 1-1. And I guess Zest is the Protoss who could beat, excuse me, MarineKing with an all-in where other Protosses just couldn't.
Yeah, it did work out this time. The first attack he made was like pitiful, like he lost everything and did no damage. But that drop, the Warp Prism, the old strategy, the dated strategy that you brought up, Tasteless, just kind of wrecked him because he got to kill 2 Sea-Chanks completely for free and warping on the high ground. Like, even if those weren't Immortals in there, even if that was just like Zealots, the push probably still would have just worked straight up.
He's driving out the Medivacs now. GG, there it is. Zest wins game 1. It's 1-1 in our best of 5.
All right.
Zest sticking with these all-ins, which I have to say is strange. You know, now granted, he may be saving some of his strats here for the possibility of Sky High getting into the finals.
You know, the thing is, it's like the metagame has shifted a bit, and all the Protosses are getting really aggressive right now against Terran. And I think his mindset is stuck in that current metagame of, like, what he would have to do against someone like Flash right now. He would probably have to play a little bit more like this, but, I mean, against MarineKing, yeah, it happened to work that time.
I don't really see Zest winning the series if he keeps doing that, though.
If he just keeps doing all-ins, I don't think he'll win it, actually. I think MarineKing will win.
By the way, that was a situation where there was no way MarineKing could micro his way out of it. Just the way the force fields work and the way the Immortals fire.
Yeah.
Maybe if this was Legacy of the Void, he could pick up tanks in siege mode.
Yeah.
That would be another question.
Or if this was Legacy of Void, he would have made a Cyclone and killed Zest right off. He would have just rallied to his base and Zest is like, oh, damn, he's good.
Damn it, man. The Cyclone Rush is just too good. Well, let's see what is in store for us here on game number 3 with these two players. Really interesting, really weird. First of all, MarineKing's actually here in the Final Four here in the end of 2014. And also the fact that Zest is doing all-ins against him. I don't know if that last strat we can call as all-in as some strats. Normally when that strat fails, it's a bit more of a trade. Usually a little bit better for the Terran.
Yeah, I would still classify as all-in. You made 3 Immortals before moving out, so like your splash is really
I guess the way I thought of it was like it wouldn't be as much of an all-in because Terran is losing the tanks, which is also where he's going for tanks. So
Zest didn't know there were tanks too, is one of the pieces of it, where it's like if MarineKing skipped the tanks, just went straight medevac.
He saw the tank fire. That's when he made the Warp Prism.
Yeah. I'm saying like, the Warp Prism was a reaction. Like he started out with an all-in, and then followed up with Warp Prism to finish the all-in. So it's like he didn't know the tanks were going to be there. So this build, like, I don't know if it really should have worked, but it ended up working.
It worked out really well when he saw the tanks got the Warp Prism.
Yeah, definitely.
And actually bulldogged in there. All right, guys, it's time for game number 3 here with Zest and MarineKing in the semifinals of the HOT6 Cup here at GOMTV. In the upper right, in the red, we have our Terran player losing to that old school strat. He is
MVP MarineKing.
And in the bottom left, in the teal,
KT Roaster Zest.
I really wondered if he's going to do an all-in again here. Sometimes you see top players do this, though, in a series, just to throw off the way that players feed off of how they play. They will do something where they just all-in every single time and basically put those strats on the back shelf for a while.
Well,
because you got to think, after this, there's not much he has left to do.
No, there's
just not. I mean, so he might as well, if he has any crazy all-in strats, just do it now. But I would also think the meta should be fairly well shifted later on. There's no need for it. I don't know.
There's some qualifiers coming up for the new Star League and stuff, but there's like 11 days before the next aired professional match in Korea or something like that. So,
which is a lot of time off, by the way.
Yeah, for Korean pro gamers, definitely is. But like, I think he might just all in here because it's Foxtrot, and you don't see a lot of macro games here.
Yeah, this is Foxtrot.
Yeah, the third base is like, it matters where you take your third. Like if you want to take a pretty quick third, sometimes you take it on the low ground, like above the main, and that's got a lot of surface area, and obviously this map is like kind of droppable and whatnot. If you want to kill those rocks and take the one further down, it can be hard to hold against like SCV pull all-ins and stuff, because the Vikings have like great places to hide from being hit and come in from the side against your Colossus. So I mean, if he was going to all-in on a map, this is not a terrible one to do it on. And that's what he's done so far, even on maps that are good for macro.
Cybernetics Core's about to finish. And let's see what he's going to do here with this. He's going to get the Nexus.
I like, by the way, that MarineKing went CC first twice in a row now. That's old MarineKing really right cool. there.
And let's see if he actually... Does he go to eBay with this build, by the way?
He did last game. He got it pretty quickly.
Did he do it in the second game? Because I know he did it in the first game.
In the second game he got a quick eBay, but it was more for turrets than anything else.
Okay, so it wasn't the same build.
I think he thought it might be Oracle.
I don't remember seeing +1. Oh no, +1 was upgrading right before the second attack came in. He did have that. Excuse me.
Whereas the first game, I think like the eBay was, like, you know, it serves the double purpose, but like proxy Oracle and stuff is so popular right now. So I think quick eBay builds are just a pretty reasonable choice for any Terran.
The Nexus is almost finished now. We don't have a clear Protoss tech, but we will very soon. The Sentry's out. And it is going to be the Twilight Council. This could look very similar to game number 1, at least strategically. Result-wise, we'll have to see if it's going to fail or not. If you're just now joining us, we were talking before this series started about how MarineKing had gotten this way. And by the way, on impressive merit here. Had gotten this far by stopping Protoss all-ins. And oddly enough, the player Zest, who Artos and I are both saying, you know, is pretty much the most solid, well-rounded Protoss of all time. He would not need to all-in to win this, and now he's all-inning, and it's failed once already.
Yeah. Well, you know, you can absolutely just open Blink and have a normal macro game, or go into one of these hybrid games that like can go into 3 bases and macro, but like not upgrade. So there's like a countdown clock on how long you can last with that type of build. But I wouldn't consider something like that all in, because there's like a lot of play with it.
We might want to, starting next year, try to revamp a little bit when we say all in.
Yeah, I think some of the lingo is way outdated.
Especially with other casters too. We started saying all ins or rushes, and I'm like, a lot of these sometimes are pressure builds, or like if you want to see something really all in, it's when the guy takes all of his workers and attacks in with everything and has like one worker run drone back in his base or something.
For instance, in this series, I would say the first 2 games would still, under a new lingo, be considered like all in,
because
there's just no transition point from them.
Because I've seen a lot of people when they're talking about StarCraft or just anything. Let's actually go get Let's go get dinner after this is all done and start thinking about this, because I've seen people say cheese when I'm like, well, that's not really cheese.
Oh no, I see.
People say like, oh, it's a timing build, and I'm like, that's not actually
well,
a timing.
Timing is the most misused word
timing
in all
is probably
StarCraft.
the
People
most
don't even know what people think timing equals attack.
Yeah,
and
I'm like, no, it's usually you either get there right before they have some upgrade, or
right when your upgrade
finishes, or some weird middle ground.
It's literally
people like, oh, there's like he did a 30-minute timing here. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
30-minute timing.
That does not even exist. But that's something to think about for next year, though.
Taking a look at this, he's actually gone into what is a very good. This is kind of what I was talking about. It's forgeless right now.
This is what we were expecting to see more of from the very beginning of this series.
This is a super good build, like hyper modern, right? It's Blink into Colossus Tech. This is like how I abbreviate it in my head and write it down on paper. Colossus Tech into the additional 2 gateways. So it was like never for pressure. It's just to get the quick blink, and he has the option to put on pressure afterwards. But what this does basically with like the slightly slower gates is it sacrifices putting on blink pressure for quicker Colossus, so that you have that splash damage to hold any attack. So it's a really good way to get a very fast and safe third base, to have blink super quickly on a map like this that's very droppable, and also to have splash damage. And what you're cutting to do all this, of course, is upgrades. If he gets upgrades, it's probably not going to be for quite a bit.
MarineKing sticking with the tanks here. He is turtling it up. It's interesting to see MarineKing. He did a little bit of this before, but this is even more defensive. This is Artosis-esque, actually. This brings me back to the days of playing Protoss against the Tosis in Brood War. Captain, careful, man.
Well, Shank, good unit.
Yep.
despite what some people might say. But, you know, it's interesting he's doing this. This is something that we've seen, like, for instance, TY do some recently. And notice how he's not probing this third base. This could mean that this is like a placeholder Nexus, and it's not quite what I was talking about before. He might want to do like a lot of damage, but against defensively siege tanks, I don't like.
I don't think there's any need. I think if you see siege tanks like this, you just stop and you like, really. I think.
Yeah.
What was that? Oh my God!
I was overcommitting. Okay, this is what I like, okay? He's starting probes up again. He's getting a single forge. This is what I like, because against siege tanks, Thesis, you know how to kill siege tanks. When they're walking across the map, make them siege multiple times.
And then you jump back.
Yeah.
And then
you just kite them.
You punish that. I mean, that's how you punish any player who's meching. Obviously, you want to be careful if it's like Hellions or whatever, vultures, whatever, that run by you. But, yeah, if you got a guy who's getting massive siege tanks, what you do is you run in there, you wait, you make him siege. What you do is when he sieges, you just jump back. That's fine. He's sieged
You don't
up.
let him even get a volley off.
Yeah.
You kill like a Marine and back up, and
because
the amount it slows you to siege on siege, siege on siege.
If a Terran player is pushing you with siege tanks, you just keep jumping back, and he'll have siege like 3 or 4 times before he gets to your base, and by then you should be in a better spot.
Yeah.
And since siege tanks weren't really used, I mean, well, TBT, let's subtract that because that's siege tanks against siege tanks a lot of times. But in general, when you see Terrans doing that, that's a great way to just drag out a game with a Terran player who's going siege tanks, is to just hop away again. Because it's not easy to unsiege and push forward and siege up again. To set up a siege position in general takes a lot of thought, and you have to be pretty spontaneous, like on the point. When you get there, okay, where's his army? What's he doing? How do I set this up? We've seen players get very good at this with Widow Mines, but I think it's a little bit easier with Widow Mines to get that set up.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so here we go. He sees the siege tanks coming up. Let's see if he actually uses the stalkers. Okay, he's going to go around. This is also fine.
Yeah, pulling a decent amount of SCVs here.
Whoa.
Not like
he could actually come around and get the stalkers, I think.
Doesn't look like he's going to. These stalkers going to head off some of these reinforcement units.
I think MarineKing's just going to kill him, excuse me.
He has to back up. He can't engage us right now. Like, he actually has to go up that ramp, sack this third base, because he's committed these stalkers over here.
I think MarineKing just kills Zest. I'm serious.
It's possible.
Look, I don't.
But he has force fields to slow everything down. Let's not forget, there's no force field breakers here or anything.
Yeah, it's not like it's not like the tank can stop the force field either.
He can buy a decent amount of time, but
I don't think he has the sentries in place though to put the force. I don't think he's actually. I think he thought the stalkers.
Yes.
I think he thought the stalkers were going to make him back up.
Yeah.
And then he just didn't back up. He's like, oh my God.
Ooh, well, he throws down I feel like a time warp is actually much better here than that Nexus cannon. It's not going to do a whole lot. But okay, he's going to bring up these stalkers, try to blink forward. Oh God. They didn't have any vision, so they actually blinked onto the ramp, which is exactly where he did not want them.
What?
Still,
in the hell?
You know,
you know what? Let's see here. The Protoss army is thinning out on the low ground, but I guess with the tanks dead, there's not a lot of volleys left. MarineKing lost a lot of SCVs because he set them in there with that.
Yeah, ooh, it's actually committing a little bit too far down this ramp, taking extra damage, losing an extra Colossus at this moment. So it's slightly sloppy there by Zest.
Well, the Vikings, I believe, are going to get that last Colossus, right? Is it dead? Yeah, it is dead.
Yeah, but he's actually pumping out quite a few Immortals. So he actually has 2 right now against a mostly Marauder siege tank army.
By the way, guys, it's 37 workers for Terran to the 56 probes from MarineKing. So it is 2-base versus 2-base, yes, but unless MarineKing actually comes in here and does a lot of damage, you see him taking out these Immortals, maybe that's the beginning of something. In fact, I think that is.
Yeah,
there's enough Marauders there. Okay, if he can make this work, oh, get that pylon, look at the pylon! Wow. He's going to go for the Nexus. Is that going to work?
Yeah,
okay,
he does
you know what?
Picking it off.
I like that. If he can pick up and back out of here. Oh, hello, Siege Tank. Hello, Tasteless. Well, it's talking Siege Tank. I mean, you didn't say anything when I said that. You left me out dry, man. Okay, so he got the Nexus.
That was some good commentary there.
Thank you. That's why they pay me the big bucks, Artosis. So we have Zest now without a Nexus, and MarineKing continuing to chip away.
Yeah, this is very, very bad for Zest. This was actually a very interesting game from both sides. MarineKing played it quite well. The way that he wasn't drawn back by the scary Blink Stalkers was like, that was really one of the most important parts here. I would say also on top of that, the misblink from Zest with no vision up the ramp.
Yeah, he blinked right into where the siege tanks would all hit and get another volley.
He needed his stalkers actually to live.
Stalkers are not actually that great against siege tanks and siege
No,
They don't fire that fast. They don't do an incredible amount of damage.
Yeah, I mean, you blink on top, they're okay, but...
Yeah, sure, but even then they're going to get hit no matter what. And even when they're not in siege mode, let's just take that for instance, they're not bad against Stalkers either. So it was kind of an odd play. I almost would have preferred to just see a Warp Prism dump the Zealots on him.
Yeah.
Then again, you know what? The siege tanks were so bunched up. A lot of times when you want to drop stuff on top of siege tanks in siege mode, you want to use the other siege tanks in siege mode to fire at that unit that drops out like a Zealot or an Immortal, because the splash damage damages the siege tanks are dropping on.
Yeah, you know, it's a weird build that MarineKing did here, something Zest probably doesn't have a lot of practice against, but I'd have to say, and I never say this about Zest because he is like the godly Protoss in the world, but I think he mismanaged his spells. I think if he force field the ramp for 1 round, it gives his Stalkers that extra, 10+ seconds to get back home. And then if he had used 2 Time Warps instead of Nexus Cannon Time Warp, I think those 2 things would have swung this into his favor and he would have saved that Nexus. Like, see this? That slows him down so much.
Whoa, see? Now, look how long that... Not that easy to kill the siege tank there with those Stalkers. The Stalkers took a lot of hits.
Yep.
There's a Thor coming down, right? I swear I saw
he's bringing in Thor. Thor is really nice here.
Now, this is so what Zest is doing is the right move because he saw SCVs pulled. So
it should have looked more like this on the first push. And
like sure.
He would have had time if he had used his force fields like we just saw there, the double of them, to get his Stalkers back over the rocks and had his whole army double Time Warp, sub-die.
All right, well, the Colossi are in the back here. The Vikings are doing a great amount of damage to them, and the Marines Marauders are actually kiting them pretty well. More Vikings coming down here and hitting the Colossi. Oh, my God, that's going to be it. MarineKing's actually going to win game number 3, or be 1 game away from going on to the finals.
Now, that was really well done.
The HOT6 Cup.
That was a well-done game by MarineKing. That was a cool build that he brought out. Looks like what he was probably trying to do on Overgrowth.
I feel like we've seen a lot of experimental StarCraft 2 games, but they're working. By the way, this song is so sick. I need to get this after the show's done.
Yeah, it's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, man. This is really good music. Look, I think that those
siege tank pops his head out of a basket, moving back and forth.
I feel like that's like StarCraft, like romance StarCraft 2. Like, let's do a very beautiful strat aesthetically and see if we can pull it off. Simply to play with the game, but it's really weird to see a lot of these strats from these guys being used in the round of the semifinals, you know?
Yeah, MarineKing's coming in with like specialized builds that Zest won't be ready for because like straight up Zest will beat MarineKing if MarineKing does like something everyone else does. So it's actually really smart by MarineKing. I'm very impressed with like the build he brought out here was good. It was strong.
The
it's hard to stop.
Really interesting. It's pretty smart because even with force fields, the siege tanks coming up in the back make this actually quite strong.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is, Zest did mismanage a little bit. Like MarineKing played it very well, but I do believe if Zest force fields that ramp twice, gets the Stalkers home, uses Time Warps, because he cleaned it up anyways, but then just lost a few too many units doing so.
I think it's also about how much experience do you actually have with this specifically. People are not doing this normally.
No.
It might come into style more and more now that we see it doing so well here in the Final Four of a HOT6 Cup, but I think Zest was a little bit caught off guard, especially by what happened in that last game. We're going to go to a short little break, and I believe we're even going to show the interview for you guys.
Yes, in English.
In English. There was some problem earlier, but we'll throw that up for you guys now. And when we come back, we'll be going on to game number 4 here in the semifinals between Zest and MarineKing.